Konami Studios.
America Chavez, made in the USA. I really enjoyed the first issue so much that I even bought a physical copy, something I don't do unless I really like the book. So issue 2 is here. Let's follow the adventures of America Chavez well before her movie debut in Doctor Strange 2 next year, so we have a trade out in time for you newcomers to want to read that character after you watch the movie. It works, it's a good storyline, I think it's cool. So, this story, we ended last issue, there was a fire at her old home. Her family wants to see her, but she's got a note saying you should remember who your family is. And then we cut to 10 years ago where we see America's in school. She's picking on this kid who is making fun of her. And her brother's like, yo, what's going on? She's like, well, it was family tree day, I think is what they said, where we were revealing our family trees. And he said mine wasn't real. So she pulls it out, and it's like her old life in the utopian parallel, and we see, her moms and her, and they're on a tree, and she's like, cool, this is it. My memories are coming back. These are my real parents. She's having so much fun. That's kind of like the underlying theme of this book pretty much is just we see America choosing to become Chavez over keeping the name of the family that adopted her. You're like, okay. That's pretty interesting. So in the present day, she's still talking to Spider-Man. They see a couple of looters. They go to fight them and take them down. Easy stuff like that. And she's just kind of like putting off going home to talk to her family because she doesn't really want to see them because she knows what they're going to say already. Basically, it's that kind of feeling. And it works for the most part. I think they did a great job of setting up this idea as to why America shouldn't be a superhero in this community. They established that in a pretty interesting way, as we'll get down to that part of the book. And we cut back to the past. And one of the things I'm really enjoying about this issue in particular, I can't remember if I noticed it as much in the second issue, or in the first issue, I should say. But when we cut to the past, the background changes from white to blue. So that's how you know it's taking place in a different timeline. The present day stuff has the white space background. The stuff in the past has the blue background. It kind of blends into one. So you're like, oh, it's going from the present to the past or the past to the present. Very cool stuff that I'm enjoying seeing. So in the past, we see that we're going to a therapist for a child, and her parents are like, we don't really know what's wrong with her or anything about her history. If there was abuse or anything, we're not too sure about it. But the therapist is kind of like, these things could exist. The important thing is to think that the child believes that the stories are real, so we shouldn't play into whatever she's feeling that way. And as, America's in the other room and the family's talking to the therapist, she starts to learn to fly. So she's starting to get her memories to come back to her, and she starts to fly again. You're like, oh, okay, well, we definitely didn't see that coming. We cut to the present day, and reluctantly, she goes to see her family. There's mixed reactions to her, of course. People are, seeing her. Her father's like, it's good to see you, kiddo. What's up? And her cousin's like, okay, nice to see you, looking sharp. Her nephew doesn't recognize her and all that stuff. And basically, it's her mom who's kind of like, you're here because of the superhero stuff. We know the note exists, so it's your reason. It's you why things went bad here. So thanks for everything, America. And basically, her father's like, why don't we just go for a walk and we'll talk about everything in this area. So we'll just let's de-stress the situation and get out of here for a little bit there, America, and figure some stuff out. You're like, that's fun. It's nice. It's a nice little balance between all the worlds. I'm enjoying that aspect. It's people don't like what she's doing here. People do. It sounds like family to me. So I buy that area that they're playing with. I really do. So we cut to 6 years ago, and we see America is using her powers again in public, but a police officer shows up. And you're like, okay, well, America's doing something bad. And again, we'll get to the kind of theme is why I kind of like the idea of the family having conflict of her being a superhero. But before that, she's going to the old store where she used to go with her family, and there's walking through. And of course, she's still on the clock as a superhero, and she wants to check the surveillance footage to make sure maybe something here happened or maybe it didn't. There's a guy that was standing in the corner of the store for an hour, and her father never noticed. So she's like, well, let me take a look at that. And of course, she's always the hero. She finds a token to the Indigo something. I think they're saying it's an arcade token because she goes to find that later. And then we cut back to the event that happened when she was seen with the cop. And I like this a lot. It's basically her parents because of how you look, you can't go around just running around and hurting people. There are certain people in this world who are going to want to stop you from being who you are because of the way you look. And because of that, we have to lay low and keep our head hidden. So her mom's kind of the one preaching that. And her dad, well, in agreement with the mother is kind of like, you still gotta be yourself. Like, I don't want you to like hide who you are or anything, but you can't be a hero who does all this stuff, and that's not this world. And it's basically like, yeah, the utopian parallel was so perfect. There was no crime or violence. Her parents are still superheroes, and it's the first act that we kind of see America wants to be like her moms, because she's like, I want to be the hero. Like, I saw my parents as heroes, and I want to be like them. And she's kind of like, I know I look different, but I'm not different. Nothing about me is different. Like, this is the world. I want to help the world. And you're like, yeah, that's great. I like that. And of course, we cut back to the present day. We got some stuff with Kate Bishop saying, hey, you're doing the private eye thing really good, babe. Keep it up. So she goes to the old Indigo Lanes arcade. She goes inside. And we're like, what's going to happen next? But before that, we get our final flashback to 3 years ago. America is still fighting, still being the hero, and her family's like, ugh, this again? Are we still on this, America? We told you you shouldn't do this. You're going to get yourself hurt, and you're going to get all of us hurt, which we see happens 3 years later in the present. But she's like, you know what? I'm sick of hiding who I am. I want to be a hero, okay? So what? It doesn't matter. I'm not a Satana, okay? I'm a Chavez. I'm going to be a hero. You can't stop me from doing the heroics, okay? So from now on, I'm not America Satana. I'm America Chavez. And it's kind of just like renouncing her family in a sense. You're like, oh man, they seem like good people. They're just looking out for you, America. But I get it. I really do get what it's saying there. I understand that completely. So we cut back to the present day. She finds the man who was standing in the store, starts chasing him down. You're like, what's going on here? And the guy's using some of the power. You're like, okay, we're setting something up. My first reaction was, this cloaked person is going to be one of her mothers. We didn't set that up to be the case, but you never know. It still might happen. Basically, the person uses their powers, and it sends America back to the utopian parallel. So she is back home where her mothers used to fight, and we don't really know what's going to happen there. But man, if it wasn't a good book. It's cool. Like, you don't need to do that much for an America Chavez story. Like, you're setting up enough already that it works really well. It's not going to be over the top. It's not going to be hardcore, dramatic. You're just establishing this character, going back into her world, seeing the things she's like, seeing how she was brought up to believe in one thing while still being told you can't be a thing because of how you look. I think that's a really cool story for America Chavez. Again, Kalinda Vaquez is doing a great job with this. It looks so good. Carlos Gomez on art. I'm liking it too. Everything about this book is just working for me. I think it's going to make a lot of people happy, especially if you're not like too familiar with the character of America Chavez. It's a great place to start. It's a really fun book. You're going to really like the character. It's got a great feel to it. It's got a great style to it. It's going to make you smile and happy, and it's just worth your time. I'm enjoying this a lot. The character just continues to be a staple. Why is it that we have no like action figures or memorabilia really of America Chavez? Like, I want some America Chavez collectibles, guys. Let's get on that. Where are they? Come on. We got a movie coming out in February with this girl in it. Let's get some action figures. Let's get some statues and some posters and some cups and shit. Let's go. Let's get it going. The utopian parallelogram, as Spider-Man called it in the book. Cool. Let's see what that's like. So, America Chavez, made in the USA, issue number 2. I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.